We wouldn't have to.
Yeah.
The speakers here down.
Get a nice day and we'll get it that we're just gonna do it. It's like a nice day and stuff inside. Scan comes and it's
So now you can close that tab. Switch back to your channel. We'll go ahead and get back to those.
once this one-
Just hit
Some things you just have to learn hard way.
Okay, it's 6:30, so I'd like to go ahead and call the meeting to order. I'd like to welcome our guests and remind you to put your cell phones on mute so we don't hear phones ringing in the background. First time on agenda is approval of the agenda.
Motion to approve the agenda.
A motion from Lori,
I'll second.
second from Mark. All in favor, raise your right hand. Agenda is approved as written. We do not have anybody signed up for open forum, and I wasn't here at the last minute, so last meeting, so bear with me, but we had a couple questions to answer. I understand Carol brought up three things. One was the audit. The audit has already had its own special meeting and been explained. One was related to the high school roof project, what the final cost was and whether there were any overruns. A breakdown, we paid Garland $277,506. It was paid as bid. Watkins $123,037, and they were paid as bid. And Navigate $21,549 as bid. It was $1,100 for an infrared scan, and the total cost was $423,192. There were no cost overruns. The other question is with the elementary heating and ventilation project, what's going to be done with summer school? We'll be utilizing the middle school area for classes. The project will be done in three different zones. As one zone is completed, summer school would be moved into the completed zone. So they're going to end up doing a little bit of shuffling, but they'll have plenty of room for the summer school, and they won't be in danger around the workers. Okay, moving on to approval of the consent agenda. Right, Lori and I have to abstain. Do I have a motion to approve the consent agenda?
I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Motion from Naomi. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second from Sean. All those in favor of approving the consent agenda, raise your right hand. 4. Those abstaining. 2. Motion carries. Next item on the agenda is approval, transfer and payment of bills. Do you have any questions? Did anybody see anything? Okay, I'll need a motion to approve the transfer and payment of bills.
I'll make a motion to approve the transfer and payment of bills.
Motion from Hannah. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second from Sean. All in favor, raise your right hand. 6-0, motion carries. Reports. Elementary report.
Mrs. Kingsley is coaching a youth league basketball game, so she will be here later if you have any questions for her.
Okay. Let's move on to the high school. Yep.
The only thing I have to add is that we have been addressing the DNF list with the break. A lot of kids did not use that time usefully, getting their grades up. So we've The teachers have done a really good job. We had limited it down. We almost cut it in half now. Now we have a total of 68 students with multiple Fs. So about 22, still we're at about 22% of our students are failing right now, at least one or more classes. So we are utilizing time during lunch. They got a loss of privilege. So what we're doing is we've set up tables and we've got extra teachers in there working with our 7th and 8th graders. And then we're making sure during seminar time that our teachers are addressing those needs. So we have improved it, almost dropped it by half, but that's still something that we're aware of. We're going to continue to work on.
Sounds like you have a plan though.
Yeah, we do have a plan.
That's it.
And I'll take any questions. You have anything else?
Thank you, Jeff. Athletics, Millie.
Last basketball game, home game is tomorrow. Regular season finishes up this week. Districts begin next week on Monday for the boys, Tuesday for the girls. Junior high volleyball should start next week with snow days. The other team may not have enough practices, so we may first that game back. But that season's in swing. And then spring sports begins on the 28th. Practices begin February 28th.
Thank you. Superintendent's report.
You all have my report in your folder. The only thing I really have to add, and this kind of goes back to Dennis, what he said about summer school. We had a Zoom meeting last week with the architects and Corey and myself. And I actually think for summer school now, barring any unforeseen circumstances, which as you know, in any project of this magnitude, there's always a chance for change, but they will be ready to begin work as soon as school is out. So on May 23rd, we actually think we have a plan developed where they'll be able to use all of middle school and about half of the elementary school for summer school, allowing them to start in our office and then move this direction with about half of the elementary school available for them to work on as well. By doing it that way, I don't think any summer school classes will actually have to move midstream. We should be able to keep them all in the same location once we start. But we've developed a pretty good plan at this point, and the project's almost ready to go out for bid. Other than that, everything is in my report.
Thank you. Okay, moving on to discussion and action items. First item is 7.1, approve the Navigate task order.
So Corey is with us, I think. He's coming.
Yes, ma'am.
Hi, Corey.
Hi.
Do you want to kind of give an overview here of what we're doing?
Yes, and if you'd like, I can share my screen and kind of walk you through that phasing plan and show you what the plan is for summer, because it'll make this make sense as for the hours.
Yeah.
And while Dina's working on that, I'll just walk through this. So right now, our task order got us through the investigation phase and through the design phase, and now we need to set up the bidding packages, our service, and the construction administration. The reason that I believe we took this out at the last board meeting I was in is because the construction scope was really unknown, because we didn't know the cause of the issue for the VRF leaks. Now that we've been able to identify the cause and identify the solution, we know the duration of construction. We've gone through the phasing logistics to understand how long that duration is going to stretch out, and we're able to apply the hours to that project.
So then the cost then would be $26,969 to.
Yes. And what that includes is it's 2 Navigate staff members going through the bidding phase, putting together the bid package, going through the bidding service, the pre-bid meeting, interviewing and evaluating the contractors, provide a recommendation to the Board of Education on that contract, or on the contractors, in cooperation with the district staff. We're not going to just decide for you. And then during construction, I've got one guy who will be there a minimum twice a week It's going to be kind of heavy-handed as far as construction administration, because it's going to be a lot of logistic coordination and then verifying the quality of work, so we don't end up in the same situation the district is in now. Verifying that all the connections are done. We're even putting in the specifications that we haven't decided on how many yet, but we're putting in a quantity of destructive testing, where we're going to go back and make the contractor remove a couple of valves, a couple of connections, and to verify that what they have put in place meets the quality requirements and will not be an issue in the future, will not be a leak in the future. Kind of that, it's almost called a destructive quality test. And then the phasing plan.
Do I have to stop share before you can share? I don't know how to.
It's okay. I don't need to share.
Okay.
Dina was correct. The phasing plan is the first step includes the central office up into, it's really around the gymnasium. The gymnasium does not have any VRF piping work associated with it, so the gym will actually be open all summer. We may have to work half to get in there to avoid the construction. And then half of the elementary on the upper floor and half of it on the lower floor. That's phase one. It goes from May 24th to June 24th. That aligns with your summer school. And then phase two starts June 25th till August 5th. And that would be the other half of the elementary on both the first and the second floor, or I guess the first and the lower floor. And then that goes from June 25th to August 5th, leaving us about a 2-day window to do a punch list on August 8th and 9th. And then the contractor gets a week from there, August 10th to August 16th, to fix any punch list items and do cleanup. And the critical date there is August 16th is, I believe, when your teachers and staff members return and start prepping their classrooms and prepping everything for the student return, I believe, the week after that. So we're trying to phase and schedule everything that works as well as we can with the district normal logistics. One thing to mention in there as well, we had a discussion with Dina, I believe she's reached your immediate staff, is summer waxing. Summer waxing is not a minor effort. So we wanted to give those guys a phasing plan so you can understand where and when you'll be able to wax, and let you know if you're just going to do a scrub down or if you're able going to strip these floors down and put a full 3 to 4 coats on them during the summer.
And I actually met with them and we kind of developed a plan for how we think that's going to work. So Lorraine, I can discuss that more later, but I have met with our custodial staff to make sure that we can get that all done.
Corey, are we gonna have to empty all the rooms if the contractor comes through?
I don't think so, because it's the pipe really is just a direct line either through the rooms. Really, it's a line from one wall into a piece of equipment in the center of the room. So we should be able to just shove the equipment to one side of the room and probably cover it, dust covered, or
Sure.
do some minor work that way. Yeah, I wish I could show this to you, but there, I've got the piping plan up on my screen. It's really just hopefully we'll just be taking out a 2-foot wide section of ceiling tile directly to the equipment.
Okay, that makes sense.
If I stop share, please share. I've got my tech guy standing next to me, so maybe you can share your screen. I don't know how to do that.
And you don't foresee any other additional cost outside of the contract with the mechanical, I assume a mechanical contractor?
Well, the only unknown we're trying to plan for as best we can is how much of the refrigerant we can capture, filter, and clean and reuse. If the system's a little low due to the leaks, we'll have to buy some refrigerant, but I truly can't quantify that until we do the process. So we're putting the specs together for them to capture it and store it. And they run it through a filter when they capture it, a dry filter, and then run it through another dry filter when they introduce it back to the system. But we're going to set up some unit prices on bid day that should allow us to have the mechanism in place to get that price. But I can't honestly tell you on bid day that number is going to be there, because No one's gonna know that true quantity. I know our risk is, I think we have 206 pounds in the whole system. But if we put more than 30% of that back as new, I'd be shocked.
Corey, do you have any idea what sort of range of expense that this project will be in full? I mean, I know we're left up to how they bid it, but do we have an idea of any ballpark?
No, I just got the piping plan late last week. I haven't put together a full budget, but I can do that and send it to Dina for her to distribute to you guys. I could probably have that by early next week. I believe that we're going to be somewhere in the 80 to 120 at least, plus whatever Freon we have to buy on top, or whatever refrigerant we have to buy on top of that. But it's really going to be up to the problem. The one that's hard to quantify in this is the labor to get the ceilings down and put the ceilings back in place. And then we're also asking the contractor to take care of the furniture move and put the furniture back, to really kind of give us a delineation between damage caused by the contractor and anything that's caused by the district. Essentially, we want to turn over our space to the contractor and let them know that they, that as is condition is what we expect it to be turned back over to us.
Other questions? No questions. I'll need a motion to approve the task order. In the amount of $26,969.
Make the motion, we sign task order number 3 with Navigate Building Solutions.
We have a motion from John. Do you have a second?
Second.
Second from Lori. Or Neil? Oh, sorry about that. Okay, any other input? If not, all in favor, raise your right hand. 6-0, motion carries.
Thank you, Corey.
Thank you guys, appreciate it. Have a good night.
The next item on the agenda is the McKinney Veno program evaluation.
I shared that information with you as far as our homeless. If you have any questions, I'll take those questions. Forgot I had to do that too.
This is just a program that we have to
It's a homeless.
review every year.
First year doing it, so.
We're fully trained, or I think it was something.
Yeah.
I'm on the first stage of it, so I've got trained this year, and then I'll have to go back and get another certificate. Yeah, and it's just, yeah.
Took us forever to figure out how
How to
to
do
get
it, right.
trained, so, because they changed all that. We got it.
So you just do it part of your regular, it's part of your job, or,
Yeah.
okay,
Yeah,
so there's no cost involved?
Nope.
Okay,
He's the homeless liaison and then Tracy's the foster care liaison, so it's hospital close.
And I've learned a lot. I didn't realize what classifications, what really classifies a homeless and those type of things. It's been a good learning experience for me. The good thing is we don't have any students right now. Just,
That's-
Okay, thank you, Jeff. Okay, next item 7.3, approve the 2022-2023 calendar.
This is the same as the draft that you were given last month, with the exception of October 10th is when we normally would have our conference professional development day. The conference superintendents decided not to have that for the upcoming year because it takes so long to plan that, and we've had to cancel it the last 2 years for COVID. We kind of want to see if we're going to be able to have a year where we don't have to worry about that quite as much, so they're putting it off to the following year. So October 10th will still be a PD day, but it will just be an in-district PD day. Other than that, everything else is the same as last month.
What's the purple on Monday, November 21st?
School's in session
You
that
are in
day for
session, okay.
Thanksgiving. We have 2 of those, that one and the Monday before Good Friday in April.
April 3rd. If anybody wants to make a motion to approve the calendar,
Move we approve the calendar as presented.
John, do I have a second?
One second.
Second from Hannah. Any other discussion? Favor, raise your right hand. 6-0, motion carries. Item 7.4, approve the 2022-2023 health insurance rates.
So those of you who have seen a similar chart in the past for health insurance rates, this is going to look a little bit different. In the past, districts had to choose whether they were going to be part of the Blue Preferred Network or the Blue Access Network, with the major difference being access to those specialty hospitals, I guess. So for us, the main difference is Barnes-Jewish. Of course, the plan that you had access to those hospitals cost more for the district than the plans that didn't have access. So the district has been Blue Preferred for several years. This year, OSBA did some work on changing it to where all districts have access to both Blue Preferred and Blue Access. So we have access to any and all providers within those networks, with the only difference being what the employee would pay for a deductible or out-of-pocket maximum or whatever. So for example, if you look at this 1,500, 2,000 PPO, if you just use strictly Blue Preferred providers, your individual deductible is 1,500. If you need to go to Barnes-Jewish for something and you go to Barnes-Jewish, your deductible jumps up to 2,000 as an individual. But you don't have to meet the 1,500 and the 2,000. It just jumps up to that next level. And they're doing that all for one price structure. So that is a benefit to our employees for sure. And as you look down through there, you can see there are some other minor differences and some co-pays maybe along the line. There are some differences in virtual care, that kind of thing. But like I said, the good news is they don't have to choose not to go to one of those providers. It just means they would pay a little higher in deductible. So what the district has been funding is the one that is now considered the 4,500/5,000 choice HSA, which is $518.31 per employee. And so that would be my recommendation to fund this year, this coming year as well. And the cost of that, I had it on the summary sheet, is a little over $14,000 to the district.
Do most of the districts are they funding at that level, or are they funding something closer to the 1,500, 2,000 or 2,000,
It's just
2,500
kind of all
deductible?
over the place. It's just really up to the individual district.
And then I'm just curious, is OSBA, like, are there different school groups that you can get the service from?
There are different consortiums. We would have to go out for bid and
It's a huge hassle. Once you get in bed with a consortium, it's tough to get out of it once you're there.
before OSBA, we were a member of SCDC. And that was.
I think that's where we were and are no longer. You got out at the right time.
Yeah. Yeah.
What
So
are you in now at State Tech? You're doing
We're not in
something
a
different?
consortium, no.
Okay.
But that is a really high deductible. Because long-term, the question would be, would you, and I think I know what most employees would say, would you rather have a high deductible, or would you rather be paid more? And most of them are gonna say, I'd rather be paid more, would be my guess. Maybe not.
And that's kind of why we ended up, I guess, choosing the higher deductible plan, is because not everybody takes insurance. And so paying more on insurance doesn't necessarily benefit everybody. Putting money on the salary schedule benefits everybody.
And you're only up 3%?
3%.
That's pretty good.
Yeah.
That's really good. Was that for the calendar year, I take it then? Or what's the
Yeah,
period
it
for?
runs, our new benefits start in July.
Okay, so that's for the,
July, it's the fiscal year,
so
July
this
1st
is for
to June
next year,
30th.
3% increase.
Yes, yes. And new employees, of course, then don't start until October.
3% is really good. Is that group pretty solvent?
They are very solvent.
The old group we were taking out loans left and right.
Oh, the
Yeah, it was ugly.
SCAC group,
Yeah,
yeah,
it was
it
ugly.
was bad. That was the group I was part of at my old job too, and it was not good.
Have there been any comments from staff about, you talked about some hospitals weren't in network. Has that been an issue, or has it come up much?
I mean, they don't necessarily tell us when they need to go somewhere else. I can tell you from a personal experience, when our son got sick and needed to go to Barnes Jewish, their school was part of the same consortium. And he got airlifted to Barnes Jewish, so there was no choice. That's
Yeah.
where we were.
Oh, yeah.
And it could have been a nightmare for us, thankfully, because he had to be airlifted and it was life-threatening. They gave us an exception. But, the fact that they have access to all of them
That's a lot.
is a really good benefit.
I feel like you don't really pay attention to what health system it is until
You
you
need
get the bill.
everything.
I know that we've had that happen.
Well, I said insurance as a whole, we all complain about premiums, but from personal experience, I can tell you, when you have $1.5 million in medical bill as your premium that you've been paying all these years, it's pretty okay.
Need a motion?
I need a motion to raise it to 518.31.
I move that we approve the district paid insurance cap of $518.31.
From Sean, do I have a second from Mark? Any other discussion? All in favor, raise your right hand. 6-0, motion carries.
Right.
Now we're on 7.5, the oven purchase.
We did have one come in late today at like 4:45. It's a vendor that State Tech is using. They're doing a kitchen project at the country club. And so they actually ended up coming in the lowest with installation and everything being $11,740.60. And that would be through Feller's Food Service Equipment. The next lowest was Central. And
12,000.
12,210. So Feller's would be the cheapest. I don't know if anything would be added to it for them to take out and dispose of the other one. but-
The one I talked to was 650 to remove,
Right,
so.
so I mean, Krista can answer any questions. This is an oven that we've been babying for years and years and years, and it's finally done. It's done. So, one thing I will tell you is that because we were part of the Department of Health and Senior Services food service program all year last year, we got paid more than what we normally would have made for food service. So we actually have to spend about $30,000 in food service this year because we made money in food service last year. So, I mean, based on the new quote, my recommendation would be to go with Feller's food service equipment for the purchase and installation of the new oven.
The only thing makes me a little nervous is I saw it at 3:30 and I called down there and said, hey, what, can you give me a quote on this piece of equipment? And they turned it around right away. I mean,
Yeah.
it looks the
A
same.
long time to get the other ones. I've been on the phone all week trying to get it.
It helps when you're putting in a very large kitchen out of the
Yeah,
country club.
That
They,
probably helped,
they,
so.
they got right back to me. So
Yeah.
that wasn't an issue, but just because they're local, they can install a whole lot
Yeah, that would
cheaper.
be much better.
So we give it a try.
I'm sorry, Mark.
I said we give it a try and.
Yeah.
go with the bid.
I mean, once we sign it, they have to honor it, so.
So I move that we accept the bid from Feller's Food Service Equipment. Vote.
I have a motion from Mark, we have a second. Second from Lori. Any other discussion? All in favor, raise your right hand. 6-0, that motion carries. Item 7.6, final reading and then policy number 1425. And this will also be when we'll need a motion to policy.
Nothing has changed on this since last time. So.
Move we third read and finally approve board policy 1425.
Motion from Sean to approve the policy. That second,
I'll second.
second one from Naomi. Anybody have any discussion? All in favor, raise your right hand. 6-0, motion carries. Board policy 1425 is approved. Moving to item 7.7, accept resignation. We have two resignations. The first one is from Susan Patterson, and you probably read it in your packet. I need a motion to accept Susan's resignation.
I was gonna say, we clarified with Susan because she put in her letter that it was a resignation. She's actually retiring, just. so you know that information. So she just didn't state that correctly in her letter. She's going to stay home with her first branch.
I move that we accept Susan's retirement.
John, do I have a second?
I'll second.
Naomi?
Either way.
All I hear is a voice.
And it's female, so.
Yeah. You all sound alike. Sorry about that, second, Hannah. All in favor, raise your right hand. Motion carries. And the next resignation is from Audrey Williams. We have a motion to accept her resignation.
I move we accept Audrey Williams' resignation.
Okay, motion from Mark. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second from Sean. All in favor, raise your right hand. Motion carries 6-0. Moving to announcements. Our next regular meeting will be March 15th, 2022, in this location. With that announcement, I'll entertain a motion to go into closed session.
Don't have to hear who's gonna do it.
I'll do it. I make a motion, we go into closed session under 610.021 revised statute, Missouri. Items 1, legal, 3 personnel, 13 personnel records, and 6 students. Do I have a second? Second from Lori. Roll call vote, Mark,
Yes.
Lori,
Yes.
Anna,
Yes.
Naomi,
Yes.
Sean?
Yes.
Yes, for me. Open